All right, so have you ever noticed this really weird thing? When you're feeling at your absolute lowest, like you've got zero energy for anything, and yet somehow you find yourself picking up a brand new, kind of complicated skill? Well, today we're diving into that exact paradox, the unexpected chef that depression sometimes creates.
Yeah, this is the quote that really kicked this whole idea off. It's so raw, right? So honest. And it perfectly captures that feeling that I think a lot of us have been through. That moment you literally have to force yourself to do something, anything at all, just to move, and then you end up kind of surprising yourself in the process.
So this is where we get into this really strange side effect. I mean, how does this even happen? When you're at your lowest point and just getting out of bed feels like climbing a mountain, how on earth does something as complex as cooking suddenly become your thing? It sounds completely backwards, but believe it or not, there's a really powerful reason why this works.
Okay, the best way to think about it is like an anchor. You're in the middle of this massive, chaotic storm inside your head, right? You're not looking for a fun new hobby, no way. You're just looking for something, anything, to hold on to so you don't get swept away. And cooking, with its really clear, simple steps, that can be the anchor. It gives you structure when everything else is just chaos.
So let's talk about why this works. How does something that starts out as a chore, something you're forcing yourself to do, actually end up helping? Well, it all comes down to this. Cooking gives you a small, tangible win. It's something real that you can hold on to.
And this is really where the magic is. You know when your brain is just stuck on a loop? That endless spiral of negative thoughts you can't get out of. Well, you need something to break that cycle. And the simple physical act of chopping an onion or stirring a sauce, it requires just enough of your attention to pull you out of your own head. It quiets that internal monologue, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Seriously, just think about it. When your mind is a total mess, these super simple, concrete steps are so grounding. Chop, stir, taste, adjust. Each one is a tiny step forward. It's a little piece of control in a moment where it feels like you have absolutely no control over anything at all.
And you know what the best part is? At the end of it, you have something real, something you can actually see and smell and taste. It's a real, tangible success. It's a super low-stakes way to create something good when everything else feels bad. And that little victory, man, it can feel absolutely huge. But here's the thing. It's not just about coping. Over time, as you keep doing this, something really interesting happens. You stop just, doing the cooking. You actually start to become a cook, a very, very specific type of cook, which we're going to call the contemplative chef.
So what exactly is a contemplative chef? Well, it's the identity you take on, not because you chose it, but because you kind of have to. You're moving slowly, right? But it's not because you're lazy, it's because it feels like you're wading through thick fog. You get obsessive about every little detail. Not because you're a perfectionist, but because it's the one thing in your world you feel like you can actually get right.
And you'll start to see these characteristics pop up. The movements are slow, very deliberate. All of a sudden, getting the exact amount of salt right feels like the most important mission in the entire world. You might even start experimenting with little details. And hey, let's be honest, you might even catch yourself silently narrating your own little cooking show in your head. It's like you need a script to follow, and Gordon Ramsay isn't there, so you got to do it yourself. Okay, but here's where the story takes this really bittersweet twist. See, the contemplative chef isn't a permanent identity. It's born out of a very specific situation. So the big question is, what happens to this amazing new skill when the depression finally starts to lift? And this is the funny, sad part of the whole thing. It's a total irony. When you're in the thick of it, struggling, you're out here making these incredible, thoughtful, gourmet meals. But as you start to actually feel better, that intense focus and motivation just kind of fades away. All of a sudden, a bowl of instant ramen sounds amazing. That gourmet chef just vanishes, and you're back to valuing speed over craft. It's such a bittersweet feeling, isn't it? You look back on that really hard time, and a small part of you almost misses the person who could cook like that. The depressed self that you were fighting so hard to get away from was, in this one weird way, a secret culinary master, channeling cooking shows in total silence. And, maybe for you it wasn't cooking at all. Maybe it was writing, or painting, or finally learning that guitar you had in the corner. It just goes to show that sometimes our weirdest and most unexpected strengths can come directly from our deepest struggles. So I guess that leaves one last question for you to think about. What unexpected skills have your own struggles helped you find?